Hello, how are you all this fine day? I hope that if you're here, you subscribe to this channel if you're not already, and you check out everything else down below. You know, besides the like button, there's a description box that, if I remember, will be full of different fun tidbits for you. And let's just jump right into our topic, and that is hyperfocus, hyperfixation. Kind of go hand in hand, and it's one of those traits of neurodiversity that I see as so clearly blessing and curse. Just depending on, you know, the setting, how you frame it. I think most people would associate hyperfixation with obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, which, huge disclaimer that OCD is a mental illness. It is not neurodiversity, but it is a common comorbidity of autism, ADHD, any form of neurodiversity. So not the same thing, but can be quite common with one another. And essentially, how I can best describe it if you don't experience it is tunnel vision to an extreme. As with anything, I feel like it's just to the extreme of truly not being able to think and see and communicate about anything else besides one particular topic, do one particular activity, focus on one particular thought. And if you can kind of guess from there that being able to really hone in on something that can often be a special interest or passion and just dedicate so much time and energy and like kind of blur everything out in the background to really see something so clearly is such a superpower. And I see that as really important for making progress, making change, you know, depending on the kind of area you're working in, that can be so beneficial. And that's something that most neurotypical people are not able to do. So, hey, holla, it can be good. But it can also be not so good. Again, kind of tying a little bit back to what we associate with OCD, of having it as an obsession or a compulsion, that if there's something that you are hyperfixating on, especially if it's something that's harmful to you or others, such as negative thoughts, self-destructive behaviors, or really just anything in excess is not good. So if you've ever talked to someone who is hyperfixating on something, it's like you're talking to a wall. And I say this as someone that I know others have done this with me, and vice versa, of when you can't think about anything else besides one thing, it is all you can communicate about. And it's just consumes you. And that, it can almost be scary in a way, especially if it's a thought or a comment maybe someone made, or you name it. There's a lot of not great things that can come from that. And you're gonna top top that with a very common neurodiverse trait of being very sensitive to criticism and rejection. And I, for one, have experienced many a time where I hyperfixate on a comment that was likely not meant to go far beyond that immediate moment and is maybe not meant to be damaging, but it ends up just, again, consuming you and leading to not so healthy thoughts and potential behaviors from that. So I want to acknowledge that that is very common in neurodiverse people as a weakness, and that it's okay if that happens. And it's important when you're in that moment, which it's gonna be hard to kind of give advice for something when in the moment you literally are probably not able to think of prior advice or potential coping strategies, because again, you're just kind of stuck in this rut to a far extreme. And it's important just to have that perspective that in the moment of hyper-focusing and hyper-fixating on something, that while it can seem so long and it seems so permanent, that period of time, which can be an hour to weeks, it's temporary. It's something that will pass, and ultimately hyperfixation starts in here. And it can really go really bad really quickly when what's in here turns into something destructive out in the world, out affecting other people. So I think accountability there of if you are around people or are connected to people that are supporting you and are aware of your neurodiversity, that's where having an outside perspective is so crucial when you yourself are stuck in this kind of vacuum where you can't see anything else. You can't even acknowledge potentially that you are hyperfixating on something until however much time later when you see, oh wow, I was such on this one track that I couldn't see anything else. So just knowing that it's temporary, having people that are supporting you, that can just be a mirror and help you be able to get out of a really negative headspace, and to just work with it as much as you can. Again, it can be so debilitating for that to just take up all of your time and energy. But if it's possible, if it's within your means to take that energy and take that time toward something that could be beneficial, such as a special interest, or just coping strategies that you know work really well for you and could potentially get you out of a hyperfixation faster, then go for it. Because, long story short, hyperfixation can be so amazing, but it's so important to have those tools and those ideas in place that allow you to be aware and just ensure that you are just doing your best. Because even if you can't do anything else, even if you throw any sort of these ideas out the window, you're still doing your best, and that's what matters. So thank you for being here. Subscribe and like if you haven't already, and I will see you all next time.